What's good, family? It's been a long minute. I'm just waking up from a nap, by the way. Um, had a little accident. The spirit sent me to spill some shit on my computer, so had to get a whole new machine and some restoration. But greatest of the nine has returned. This is gonna be part one of what I call validation struggles, and this simply means having a sense of confidence and credibility about any particular thing you may be working on without essentially being summoned by something or some sort of banner to say that it's credible. Okay? So, another way of saying this is believing versus knowing. Alright, for all of my true, genuine spiritual alchemists out there, you know, you know who you are, and we're not restricting it to one field, you know. If you're into numbers, if you're into the tarot, if you're into symbology, if you're into any kind of academy of next level, you understand, then you understand my point. But believing versus knowing is a very important dichotomy that we need to take a look at, right? Because belief has become saturated with emotionalism. We see this in mainstream religion. We see this even in things that should be lightly opinionated, such as movies, music, and all the respective buzzes, and storylines underneath those, right? So believing versus knowing and struggling with this validation. And I mean, this is what the whole education system is built around, isn't it? You know, in terms of the degree aspect. You know, more and more people are having these arguments with their family because it's a huge generational thing, right? We're all getting these inner urges and these kind of, you know, intuitive moments to not go, with the status quo, to think outside of the box, and it's just like really getting to a point where what we were given and what we're dispensed, and it doesn't really matter what you look like. Of course, there's a different angle on it. We can talk about that later, but there's just a whole, you know, swarms and swarms of millennials are really trying to do away with this whole, just obtain this so you can do this, so you can make this, so you can ensure this. That rotation is becoming really bland and lame. People are brimming with so much creative energy, so much potential, magic energy if your imagination is strong enough. And even from the whole business model mindset, there's surges in innovation, coming out the ass. So we have to be really careful when it comes to believing in yourself versus knowing yourself. You know what I mean? Because think about it. Okay, this is an owl, right? Owl can shift its head 270 degrees. Okay, that's also your nine, right? But an owl can shift its head 270 degrees. So what happens when I fixate this square on top of this owl's head? Okay, you understand where I'm going with this? The square locks. Square is foundational, so it locks this swivel. Okay, the swivel represents having an atonement with all sorts of different knowledge. You know, for example, musical arts, language arts, mathematics, sociology, astronomy. You know what I'm saying? You get where I'm going with it, but you put that square on it, it's fixated on what? Business administration, administrative assistant, biochemical engineer. Prestigious positions, if you ask me, and all. But what I'm getting at here is it locks this wisdom in place, and thus the wisdom decays. Just in this figurine, we can see that. But knowing, one who knows is familiar with all different aspects of his or herself. And how do we get to this point? We almost have to take what many occultists, as well as, artists in general, you know what I mean? The left-handed path. And the left-handed path, it comes with a price. A lot of people in the world of art and self-expression know the term an aha moment. An aha moment or an epiphany or some sort of breakthrough in your craft and whatever you're doing at a particular time. And it's amazing because the left-handed path, I like to say, is full of aha moments. It might be devoid of the consistency of comfort and luxury, that we all at some point desire, right? It might be devoid of that. However, it's going to be full of aha moments. But with that, you know what I mean? Think about that new J. Cole song, Changes, on his most recent album. And it says, life is all about the evolution. Dream, but don't neglect the execution. Towards the end of that song, Changes, track 6. And so a lot of people have grown accustomed, myself at one point, we can all get better. We've grown accustomed to neglecting the execution. And, this is where we are fucking up with the believing versus knowing, because we're constantly affirming all of this belief, but we're not doing anything. We're not converting, as a wise elder of mine once said, any sort of route to manifesting this shit. So we're basically adding stock and secreting ourselves in this whole idea of believing, but we don't know anything because we're not dispensing the right amount of empirical work. Okay, and that's where we are with this whole validation, because too many people seek validation from people they really don't care about. And if they do care about those people, the entity that supports it is all based on a master-slave relationship anyway. And then that's seeded through a psychological case system that people think is righteous and normal, and everybody has their own little factory of ignorance to toss into the equation. But the fact of the matter is, nobody knows shit, but everything is so sleek and beautiful, and everything is so designed, okay? And, can we be too, hypocritical? If we're truly spiritual, and we're truly trying to ascend, can we just continually talk down about Macs and smartphones and this and that, even with the tracking, even with the aspect of their, so-called encroaching on our personal lives? You have to look at it from a prophetic point of view and think about how things are possible now, that people couldn't even, fucking dream about doing. So we can't throw the baby out with the bathwater all the time. But with that, we have to look at new ways on how to validate what is worthy. Okay, that's why innovation and creativity have taken a tumble when it comes to everything nowadays. Collectively, shit isn't being created anymore. It's just a huge shit show of just smoke screens that look good, they feel great, they smell great, all the treasures this society delivers to us, but it's amazing. I guess it's up to us to really assign what it is we know and what it is we really believe, okay, because belief systems need practitioners to saturate the damn energy to keep it afloat. It's like treading water, But knowers can simply wander the wilds, if you will, and simply know. Okay? And the vibration of knowledge is the most distinct gem that the mind can produce. And we need to be more respectful of that.